Muchas gracias. Thank you for having us here. This is the Mario Bazan Cabernet Sauvignon, que usted dice que es your flagship.
It
Salud.
is. Salud.
Okay, entonces, they always tell me, just like food, you might eat with your eyes first. Is that true in wine? What should someone do to enjoy the wine?
Well, yeah, definitely the visual part, it's very important because you see first the color. It's the first thing you see, right? And the next thing you do is to bring the wine to your nose.
Okay.
So the wine to me, it's a sensorial experience in all the extension of the word. You see it, you smell it, you taste it, and you feel it.
What about the legs? Someone taught me a long time ago, it doesn't mean it's right, but I'm used to it. I actually swirl it and I look at the legs. Does that matter?
Well, that talks about the viscosity of the wine, and I
Okay.
would say it's in part of this the tactile experience. So tannins that are in a Cabernet like these, tannins and that viscosity is part of the tactile experience.
I tend, because I do cook, I tend to like the viscosity, aka legs, because it's just what I'm used to. It doesn't mean that it's right, but I always want to ask winemakers that. So tell me a little bit of how you got started.
Well, we started the label in 2005, and we started making only 200 cases of the Mario Bazan Cabernet is the one that we're tasting today.
Before you started and wanting to do that, how long did your husband work in the wine industry?
Well, he's been 40 plus years
in
the industry. He came to the United States. He's original from Oaxaca with the idea to save $2,000 and go back to start a grocery business in Mexico City.
Okay.
So the time at that, the Valley, Napa Valley in those years was very different. And
what year is this again?
1973.
Okay, in 73. Now he's in Oaxaca, right? You said?
He moved from Oaxaca to the States.
Pero, and did he land in Napa first, or did he work his way here?
Always been in Napa. He first landed in Oakland, but he didn't like, because he is from a little village in Oaxaca, so he didn't like the city environment.
Okay.
So he found an opportunity to work in the fields here, and it's where he stayed.
Now, was Napa known in Mexico and Oaxaca in the town? No?
Because he didn't know anything about Napa.
Okay.
And actually, he came in 73, and the Paris tasting, that was the event that put the name of Napa on the map. It was 1976.
Got it. Perfect. So he got into did he develop a passion for work? Because he did it for a job. And did he develop a passion for it eventually?
Exactly.
Did he love the wine? Did he love the winemaking? ¿Qué es lo que le gustaba?
He loves the cycle of the vine.
Got it. So you knew you guys were together when he came here in 73? No. So he went back?
No.
Tell us about that story.
Okay. I showed into the picture in 2005. We met through the internet in 2003.
Okay.
I was practicing my former career as a pediatric dentistry in Mexico, in Morelia. I'm from Michoacan.
Okay.
So we met through the internet, long distance dating for 2 years, and we married in 2005. And it's when we launched the label.
Did you like wine?
I did like wine, but I didn't know much about wine. But eventually I become very passionate about wine because I love food. And I think wine and food, it's...
Did you think it was a benefit dating someone who was in the wine industry at least? It's kind of like dating a chef. You get to eat the good food.
It's funny because I really didn't know anything about Napa.
Okay.
And then he explained me and I said, oh yeah, okay. And then I came to visit him because he asked me to, he invited me to come, I said, I want you to go and see what I do and see for yourself that I'm telling you the truth, right? So I came and I fall in love with the valley. I mean, I have been traveling in Europe and always I found it very romantic, to see the vineyard and the little house in the back. So Yeah, well, the first time I came and then I get back and it says, well, now you have my phone number, right?
Exactly. Now it's on him.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. He's in the wine industry. In 2005 is when you guys decided to launch the label. Was that a dream of his to say, I want to eventually have my own wine with you? Or was it, because most people work in the industry for a long time before ever launching their own wine. When did he start thinking about the business? Did he run it by you to say, hey, esto es lo que podemos hacer juntos? Or?
Yo creo que ya en los 2 años que yo lo conocí, antes de casarnos, ya tenía la idea
Okay.
de tener su propia etiqueta. Y yo creo que era ese reto de ver qué puedo lograr con mis propias
Pero
uvas.
usted no tenía experiencia en las ventas.
No,
en
yo
el
no tenía
negocio.
nada, no,
Y entonces, me imagino que he said to you, I'm thinking about opening this. So what came to your mind first when you're now thinking, I come from, the
industry.
a different industry, and now you're going to go into a wine company. What was the first thing you handled?
I wasn't thinking about it. I think when you think too much about it, you don't do it.
I love that.
So I wasn't thinking about it. I always thought that I would eventually go back to dentistry. And we got twins in 2007. So the idea to go back to dentistry kind of started going away.
Yeah.
And little by little, I started getting involved in wine and in this side of our business.
What do you mean this side?
The wine side, because
Okay.
Mario has been running his own farming business for more than 20 years.
So real quick, earlier you mentioned every part of his trajectory in wine. Tell me where he started off. Tell me where he started off.
Okay, well, he started working in the fields.
Okay.
And he worked for Robert Mondavi 16 years. Then he worked for Is Wine Cellars 3 years. And he had worked before
The
for
fields, y después de esa posición.
fields, and he started his own vineyard management company in 1996.
How long was he working in the fields before he started his own?
20 years.
20 years. Got it. I'm
So-
just for the industry in the wine, especially Latinos in the labor force. I want them to understand this video. Que he spent time learning the industry because there's no sense in starting a business when you don't have the experience.
Yeah, and actually, he still is learning. He's always open to knowledge, and he right now with his vineyard management company, he gets exposed to a lot of winemakers and a lot of consultants that they have their own philosophies and their own way to do things, and he's always open to learn, from people, and that is something that I really admire in him.
Absolutely, because from a business standpoint, that is experience to manage risk, correct? Because he knows every part to bottle a bottle of wine. So now I did research. There are roughly 7 to 9,000 in the labor industry, in the fields, what you're talking about. Then there are registered by the alcohol and beverage, saying there's about 1,700 wineries out there. There are close to 500 pre-COVID tasting rooms. I'm going to fast forward because we're in this beautiful tasting room. And what made you open up a tasting room?
Well, I think I love to tell stories. I'm a storytelling person. I love my husband's story. It's been always very, it moved me, right? I quit my career as a dentist of 15 years in Mexico to move to Napa. And I'm passionate about wine and food. And when you are only selling through distributors or wholesalers, you lost the part to tell the story.
Okay, that's interesting.
directly.
That's interesting. We're talking about that. So, how long did you work in the wholesale producing wine and selling?
13 years.
13 years.
13,
and how long did it take for you to say this is a real business?
It's hard to kind of asset that. but probably in 2013, I realized that for a small boutique winery like ours, it was better to explore the selling direct.
Exacto, because you can tell the stories.
We can tell
y
the
le pregunto
story.
eso porque en bienes y raíces, when I'm in a real estate industry, the first year you're learning the industry, the second to third year you're making more money, but it's really not till the fourth, fifth year that you can scale the business, which is where you said, hey, we bought the wine, and now you said a tasting room will allow us to be more direct. You have jewelry, you have wine, and you're telling the stories. Mm-hmm. How long have you had a tasting room?
We only been open to the public 2 years.
2 years, okay, so recently.
Recently, yeah.
Have you seen an increase pre-pandemic? Did you see the labor paying off, the business plan paying off?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm very excited to report that despite pandemic, right, I see a growing curve, comparing month to month, 2019 versus 2020. So that really encouraged me because it's telling me that, okay, right now it's hard to accept with the pandemic situation, but I have seen a growth in our business, and that makes me very excited. And the part that has been a growth is, not just the quality of the wines that I always have believed in them, but it's the fact that I can tell the story, and people love the story. People
you take pride. You take pride. Now, what's the hardest thing about running a business, running your wine? What's the hardest thing?
I think it's, as any business owner, I think it's, especially when you're small, it's to find that balance. How much time I'm going to devote to the business, how much time I'm going to devote to the family, and to other personal things. The sources are more limited. If you are a bigger winery, we have to wear many hats every day. So, but I always said that to me, wine is like life. We need to find that balance, because a wine that is not balanced, you are not going to enjoy that. And I think our wines are in balance, and our business is in balance because we understand that part.
I like what you're saying of balance. It seems to be a common thread when I interview winemakers. When it comes to wine, what are you talking about of balance?
You need to find a balance in the all the aspects of the wine, like the acidity, the fruit, the tannins, the aromas that is in there. If you have a wine that it's overwhelmingly tannic, it's gonna kind of put a shadow on the fruit, or in the textural experience. If you have a wine that is super fruity, but it doesn't have the tannins to support that.
Why is the tannins important? This is good for me.
In a Cabernet, it's important because it gives you longevity in the wine. It's textural too, and it's provided by the oak and by the seeds and the skins of the fruit. So when you don't put too much in one element than the other, it's where you find that balance in wine. And it's when the wine is going to show beautifully with food. It can go perfectly with just a strawberry or a beautiful steak or whatever you are having on your table.
Because you mentioned food, that's a perfect segment. However, you answered the question of what's a balance in wine. What's a balance in life to you?
I think you need to put your priorities and don't lose that, because a small business can be very drainage, can take a lot of your energy. And
that.
life is just one.
No, exactly. Tenemos una vida y hay que tener balance. Hay que tener balance. Okay, let's talk about food. You said earlier you're passionate about food. What are some of the dishes you recommend that we can pair with your wines?
I love lamb with these wines.
Okay, you love lamb. Okay.
And I have tried many ways it's the classic steak, and the wines goes perfectly with that. But I'm always thinking in lamb. I'm from a region in Michoacán that we have this lamb birria, la birria de borrego.
Yeah, exacto. Listen, hold on, I'm gonna look into the camera. My friend Jerry Asensio is from Michoacán, and his favorite lamb is from an Armenian place called Rafi's. So Jerry, you're gonna have to try Mario Bazan wines, porque Doña Gloria te dice que she loves wine with her lamb. Entonces you've got to try it, Jerry. So okay, ahora let's go into some fun questions. If you could have dinner with someone dead or alive, who would it be y por qué?
That's a hard question.
Oh yeah, I told you this is going to be a cool interview.
It has to be famous or...
No.
No?
No, usted va a estar sorprendida en la respuesta from our other guests. But I'm not going to give you a hint. So, dead or alive, dinner, who would it be y por qué?
Well, I think at this point, and it's when you understand finding balance, I would love to have dinner with my mom.
Oh, there you go. See, I was just going to say that. La mayoría de latinos que yo estoy dando la entrevista, they're going to say a relative versus a celebrity.
Yeah.
So why would it be your mom?
Well, my mom, unfortunately, she's her health is not good in this moment, and I would love to sit down with her and have a glass of wine and cook something for her that unfortunately I cannot do anymore.
Exactly.
Right? So that is what it will be a big motivation. If I could,
and what would
I would do it. She's alive, but she cannot enjoy wine anymore. She cannot sit down and have a conversation.
Okay, that's what I would ask. My next question, what would the conversation be?
I think about life. We always have this girls' conversation. We jump into, women would jump into children, to men, to clothing, to, traveling.
Exacto. Just having a conversation with mom.
Yep.
And what would be, if the world was ending, what would be your last dish?
Oh my God, that's you are making tough questions.
Ya le dije que esta entrevista is going to be fun.
It will have something related with wine.
No, your last dinner on this earth. I have to phrase it, your last dinner if the world was ending, because I asked somebody else that question. I said, your last dinner. They're like, am I on death row? I said, okay, so tengo que refrasar. So, el último plato de comida, if the world was ending, what would it be?
I think a pozole.
Pozole, verde o rojo?
Blanco.
Blanco.
Yeah, I love pozole. It's my favorite. It's my favorite Mexican traditional dish.
I like it. You could pair it with your wines because it's white.
It's
white.
Yeah,
exactly. ¿Y qué lo hace blanco? What makes it white?
Well, you don't add any chile.
No chile, no tomatillo ni nada.
No. You just add it if you like it. So you can have the sauce on the side, and you can make it red, or you can make it white, or you just can have it. Red or green, or you can just have it.
¿Y ese
white.
pozole blanco, ese de Oaxaca, or just the way you grew up?
I think you can find it in many regions, but I have it in Michoacán. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's more from Michoacán.
What are your pet peeves in society when people come taste their wine? ¿Qué es lo que le molesta a usted?
When they come here?
When they in the wine industry, because everyone comes here and they have a good time, so I can't ask you that question. Pero ¿qué le molesta a usted la gente cuando prueban vino?
I don't think anything. I mean, it doesn't bother me anything because I understand I came from a industry that there is nothing to do with wine. Some people in the industry bothers that people don't know even how to grab a glass, you know, and I don't care because when I came into the industry, I didn't know anything about wine.
Exacto. I love that you came from the outside world, so you have a different outlook when people enter here.
Yeah.
You're less judgmental in the tradition because you were them 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Correct.
I love it. I want to thank you for that. Your wine is delicious. Let me just read this real quick. Mario Bazan, an immigrant from Oaxaca, Mexico, arrived in Napa Valley in 1973. Challenged by its beauty, he settled and began his life's work in the vineyards. Mario's experience and dedication to excellence have coaxed him to capture the essence of grape growing in a bottle. Salud. Listen, this is, you and Mario are probably one of the most decorated winemakers that I've interviewed so far because of the history. I want to congratulate you on your success, but also more on your story behind a very, very good wine. And I want to be able to, I look forward to pairing this with some of the dishes we talked earlier, because it's really, really good. So, gracias por la oportunidad.
Gracias y salud.
Salud.
Felices fiestas también. Y por un 21 a todo dar.
Con más éxito. Muchas gracias.